I have a question for you. Can you spot the difference between these two photos? They're the exact same photo, except one of them was extended with AI. And at this distance, they look pretty comparable in terms of quality. But this bottom photo is of course the one that has been extended. But when we zoom in, there's a huge problem that I'm sure you've experienced in other photos. Zooming in, we can see where the actual photo is. Everything looks normal. And then we get over near the extension and oh my God, what is this blob of pixels? We could never actually use this for something worthwhile. We couldn't print this, we couldn't display it at a large size. So this is a huge limitation of generative fill in Photoshop. But with this trick that I'm about to show you here, we can turn our extensions or any of our generative fill adjustments from this quality here over to this quality instead. So you can see how much better this is going to look when we're finished with this process. So what exactly is going on here? Well, let me just quickly organize the workspace again and we'll discuss the problem. The reason that generative fill generations end up looking low quality is because they have a maximum dimension of 1024 by 1024 pixels. The second you have a larger area that you're generating something inside of, you begin to lose quality. So the trick is that if you can continually create a bunch of 1024 size selections, that way you can just continually generate the best possible quality extensions for your photo or other assets that you're trying to add within an image. But in this case, for the sake of extending a photo, we need to go and add in an outer area. But rather than just guessing the size, we need to do this very strategically. So we're going to edit the canvas size first. Going up to image and then down to canvas size, we want to extend the canvas just enough so that we can create a 1024 by 1024 selection while still having overlap with the original pixels from the photo. That way, generative fill knows what to draw inspiration from. So to make our life easy here, we want to make sure that relative is enabled so that any value we add in here is going to be in addition to our current canvas size. So we don't need to go and add any number to our current canvas size. We can just click relative and then type in the value that we're looking for. But since we know that 1024 is the maximum dimension before we start losing quality with AI, and we still want to have that overlap, that means we just need to extend our canvas by something 10 to 20 pixels smaller than that amount. So for example, we could go and type in 1014, so that we'll have a 10 pixel overlap, or we could go and type in 1004 if we wanted a 20 pixel overlap. You get the idea here. But for this case, I'm going to do 1014 and 1014. And let's say for this example, I want to just extend the outer left edge and the bottom edge. That means I would go and click in this top corner here, meaning that we're going to extend by 1014 pixels in the direction from the bottom corner like so. If you wanted this to extend equally around the entire canvas, we'd click in the middle like this. But for this example, I'll just click up here and then I'll click OK. This is going to extend the canvas by 1014 pixels in this case. So now our job is to create a 1024 by 1024 selection. Now, obviously that might sound a little confusing. How are we going to do that every time without having to be really careful where we click and drag? But fortunately, with the Rectangular Marquee Tool, we can set the style down here to fixed size and then set the width and height to 1024 pixels. That means that when we click on our canvas, we can only create a selection of 1024 pixels, which defines the perfect size for the maximum quality of our generative fill. So I'll align that to the top corner like so. And if I zoom in, you'll notice that we have that little bit of overlap that we need for generative fill to have reference for what it needs to fill in. So with that selection made, we just go to generative fill, leave it empty and click on generate. It'll take a second to load. But once it's complete, we can of course go and choose between our different generations that we like. And once you're happy with it, we'll continue this process, aligning our cursor just overlapping the bit of the new generative fill and just clicking like so. And as you can see, I have an overlap between the top pixels as well as the edge of our original photo. And I could repeat this process again, going to generative fill, generate, and going from there. But there will be some situations where these perfect boxes aren't going to always fit. So there's one handy marker that will allow you to know if you're clicking and dragging to a 1024 dimension. Let's say, for example, we're near the bottom of the photo and we just need to create a little sliver of an extension, but we only want it to be a maximum width of 1024 pixels. Well, in that case, rather than having a fixed size, I can just go and set this back to normal within the options bar of the Rectangular Marquee Tool. And then now when I click and drag out, you'll notice that I have the little width and height setting beside my cursor. So that means I could go and drag out all the way to 1024, the maximum amount, which would be right about here. And that way I know for sure that the long edge of this selection still would allow Generative Fill to render the best possible result. If, however, your unit of measurement is different than pixels, what we need to do is just press Command or Control R to access our ruler tool, right click within the ruler and make sure your unit of measurement is set to pixels, and then that way it'll work the exact same way as you saw there. Now it will take a few minutes to go all the way around your photo and select all of the different boxes to fill in this area, but I've already gone ahead and done that, so I'll show you how this ended up looking. In this project here, I've already grouped all of the generative fills that I added in. I have 31 to be exact. And so this has extended the entire outer edge of the photo. So if I zoom in here, basically everything from about here over is all AI. So then same thing down here, about this part here down is all generative fill. You can definitely tell that it is not quite normal. It doesn't look as sharp and as detailed as the original photo, but it is a lot better than what we would get if we didn't use this method, where it looks like this. This is totally unusable, versus when we go one by one in these little sections, we have a much higher quality result, as you see here. So this is something that is definitely worthwhile doing if you want to extend a photo or add a specific element within an image and you really care about the quality because maybe you want to print the photo or you want to display it at a really large size. With the help of the Rectangular Marquee Tool and extending your canvas just slightly smaller than the maximum amount for our Generative Fill renders, you'll be able to really easily create these high quality results in your own photos as well. Now, I'd be curious to know what you think of this process. Is this something that you're going to spend the time to do as well when you want those really high quality extensions or generative fill renderings within your photo? Or do you think this is just too much of a gimmick and you're going to forget about it altogether? Either way, I'd love to know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to grab a copy of my free Photoshop Pro ebook, sharing all the most important skills you need to know to master Photoshop and feel confident as fast as possible. Again, it's totally free in the description or pinned comment down below. Now, if you're really getting into the world of AI in Photoshop, then make sure to check out this video here, where I have a deep dive masterclass on all of the things that you need to know when using AI in Photoshop. This is just one nuanced trick to the entire thing, but to have a more full view of all the potential use cases of AI and the different ways we can use it, again, just check out this video here next, and I hope to see you there.